Well, hello, darlings. How is everyone? Let me open. Oh, there I am. Mystical Tarot. Oh, that's a commercial. Ah, yes, yes, yes. This should be on members only. I believe it is. I am in my comfy clothing because my sleep is still all over the place. Um, yes, my sleep is all over the place. So I don't know. I was in a lazy day today. I just, what can you do? What can you do? Oops, what just happened? I've been losing, I'm having trouble opening a stream. Excuse me. The Hebrew book, for some reason, is every time I try to open the Hebrew from the Kindle collapses. And I don't know if it's because of a problem with the actual book. Maybe I should open Kindle Cloud so that you guys can see that. Yeah, it won't open. I can't open the Kindle, so I have to open Kindle Cloud. Is that right? Amazon Kindle Cloud. See, that's what I should have done. Because if it's online, let's try this one. Okay. Okay. Okay, Learning Hebrew 101. Welcome to Torah and the Tarot. For those of you who are in this class, welcome, welcome. This is a class that we teach twice a year. My cough is almost gone. I will say that the Benadryl combined with the traveling really knocked me out. And how have you been? Did you enjoy your time off from class? Yes, a little bit. No, you missed me? That's good. Okay, so we've gone through a couple of lessons of Hebrew together. And so I want us to go back and review a little bit of the Hebrew, and then we'll continue with the cards. We talked about the Aleph, and we had you write it, learn how to write it, a line, and then it's a fun thing to write is the Aleph. It has an ah sound, or it takes on the sound of whatever the vowel is. And we can see here this little dot with this little dot underneath the Aleph gives it an ah sound, like father. Yeah. And a line also will give you an ah. We talked about B, and that the bet, it gives you both a B or a V sound, depending on if there's a dot in the middle. When it has a dot in the middle, it will give you a B sound. And we had you doing some practice of those two sounds. So we have here ba, ah, va, ba, ah, ah, ba, ah, ah, ba, ba, and the aleph here is silent. Ba is to come. Or this is va. Excuse me, this is va. This is ba. This is av, which is father. Ba, come. Father, come. Av, ba. Av, ba. Father came. See what you did there? This book is called, it's only $5 if you want to download it, Learn to Read Biblical Hebrew. A guide to reading. It was, and I believe it's $5 if you want to download for the class. And we will be doing this class twice a year. Okay, so we continued on learning to pronounce more Hebrew, and we introduced in lesson 2 the mem and the yud, right? So this little dot here underneath the aleph will give it an E sound. And this 2 dots will give it an A sound. The mem is the equivalent to an M sound. We talked about that. And we talked about the fact that the final M, or the M at the end of a letter, is shaped differently, almost like a box, right? The mem sounds like mother, and a final mem is used to let you know that the word is completed. So the final mem is just the mem at the end. The yud gives you a yud sound like a Y. The yud is the 10th letter. And it's usually, when it's combined with a dot, it will give you an E sound, like a whimsy with an E, right? An EY will give you an E sound, and that's the same with the yud. If it's paired with the vowel E, which is that small dot you see up here, at the end it will give you an E sound, that dot with the yud. And so you'll be getting an E sound when you combine them, just like in whimsy with an E, right? So here we would have V, ba, va, B, ah, E, me, ma, me, ma. I think I got that right. Did I get that right? I sometimes get my own vowels confused sometimes. Let me check that. A, that's right. 2 dots is an A sound. So here we have the dot with the yud, which is going to give you that E sound, me, ba, come. Me means who in Hebrew. Who? Me. Avi, father, came. Avi, see the dot and the yud? Avi, ba, father came. Here we have the E sound, im, which is the beginning of the word mother, ima. And who? Me again. All right, so we're going to stop and we'll resume on lesson 3 in just a bit. I just wanted to go back and bring you up to date for the 3rd lesson. Okay, yes, only $5. So I definitely recommend having the book so that you can enjoy this. If you would like to join our class of learning the mystical Torah, and you are just auditing this and deciding if you'd like to be a member, please think about memberships. They help support the channel. They help us keep the channel up and running. We don't really make a lot of money from memberships. And elders in Hebrews, I think, elders in MPAS is only $9.99 if you decide that you want to join this class. But we're opening it up to people if you'd like to see what we're doing here. Yeah, that's why I think Aggravated Progressive, it's a good idea to download the book so that you can follow along. And then reading Hebrew is going to be a lot easier. Okay, so while we're talking and chatting about the Tarot, this class will go for about an hour and 15 minutes or longer if you have questions. I want you to just take your Tarot deck. We're working with the Rider-Waite imagery, and we're talking about the mystical Torah or Jewish origins of the Tarot. These picture books were taken along the Silk Road. Many people could not read or write. They were not literate, and they were often trying to communicate these concepts to people who didn't all speak the same language. And so how do you communicate when you don't all speak the same language? You communicate the concepts in picture books. And that's really what we believe the earliest origins of the Tarot are. It's just a picture book of the Torah. And Torah comes from the word ta, or, and or is the word for light. And so we're also going to talk a little bit about this word of t and or, to bear the light. And so the purpose of the Tarot was to help use these images in order to bear the light on someone's life. Okay, now the Silk Road was part of Greater Mesopotamia, and so people with many, many languages were coming together and they were sharing their stories. And so wasn't it wonderful if you had nice pictures that you could show people to share these concepts as you traveled along that Silk Road, sharing stories, food, and medicine, and trade. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to have you separate out the major arcana from the minor arcana, and we're going to continue on with a lecture about how the major arcana is connected to the Hebrew. So you'll just go ahead and separate your major arcana. And you can take time with that. We're not in a rush here. I've been requested to slow down the teaching so that people can really enjoy the cards. And I think that's just fine. How are you all doing? Did you miss me while I was in Sweden? This is my favorite class to teach. I love teaching HCRV, but I also love introducing people to Torah, Tarot, Jewish concepts, because when I lived in Israel, I just fell in love with the Tarot and I didn't want to give it up. And I was like, but I love the Tarot so much. And so I met with these rabbis and Kabbalists, and they said, it's okay. It's probably Jewish. You just got to do it ethically. There's an ethical way, or what we think about the ethics of being a Tarot reader. And it doesn't have to be something that's forbidden. It can be something that's part of our tradition as spiritual people who were lovers of the big book. And what you can just say to people that don't know this history is say, well, not everybody was literate. Not everybody could read the Bible. Not everybody could read the Torah. Being literate was only a few people, right? And so how did the common man learn these principles? They learned by looking at picture books. Isn't that nice? And the other thing you have to think about is if you think about the Silk Road, traveling along the Silk Road, barefoot doctors, healers, people teaching the Torah, these ethical principles, sharing these stories, they had to be able to communicate to people who didn't speak Hebrew or Aramaic. And they had to be able to share these concepts with people and convey them even in a language they didn't speak. So they used these universal images or concepts. Yeah? Okay, so now if you can put them in order, that would be great. Starting with 0 being the Fool. HCRV is probably going to be starting in about 5 weeks when we finish up this series. But you can learn basic HCRV using Tarot, because I use HCRV. I put myself in the shoes of the other person when I do the Tarot. A lot of what I do as a professional, excuse me, as a professional empath is I use empathy to access information on people, other people. So I can put myself in, it's the ability to have empathy for the other person. If you're only looking at things from your perspective, then it's going to be hard for you to be a good psychic, because you can be biased that way. And so what we teach people to do is have empathy, and to really try to the best of your ability to put yourself in the shoes of another person, which is not to say you have to agree with what they do, but at the very least, we try to understand why they did what they did. And this is very important if you're a mentalist, or if you're somebody that is trying to do profiling. And I work as a profiler. This is why it's interesting for me to see the conflict that's happening right now in Israel with Iran, because Iran is in civil war, and they themselves don't want to go to Israel, don't want to go to war with Israel, and are actually supporting Israel in many cases. So that doesn't leave much self-esteem. If you're going to war, you have to believe in your cause. And when a large percentage of Iranians don't believe in the cause, that can be problematic. So it's interesting to go in and see profiles like the fact that, excuse me, that Iran helped Mossad in that assassination, which was information we were able to get to people using HCRV. So, but you can also see things with the cards as well. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I'm done. All right, so I'm going to tell you a story. And I'm going to assume that we don't speak the same language, right? Yes, I had a wonderful time in Sweden. It's a beautiful country. Yes, this is called soul retrieval. This is when you go outside of your body in order to escape a trauma. So you have to bring in a shaman to pray over you so that you can return that which is lost. We can be trapped going back to try and retrieve that part of ourself that was stolen. And you don't want to self-destruct, though. You want to be fueled by it. The first thing is to get sober, always, because your self-destruction is what the predator wants. So they love the fact that you're an addict or that you're struggling, because that was the whole point. So they don't want you becoming successful, because, All right. Yes, keep caring for yourself and fight the good fight. All right, in the beginning, let's tell the story. In the beginning, All that existed was light. All that existed in the beginning was light, just light. Prior to this matrix being created that you are currently in, it was just raw energy. It was just raw energy, and all human life, all of human consciousness was one energy, one ball of light. And this consciousness that was humanity, this one endless light, the endless light of God, held all the consciousness as one consciousness that was humanity. All of humanity was one consciousness prior to incarnating into this matrix. It was just endless light. That means that aggravated progressive and Mary Jane and Randy and Debbie, we were all one consciousness, the collective consciousness of one humanity. And that was the soul of Adam. The soul of Adam, which is Aleph and Dalet, and I think there's a Vav and a final Mem. We can check. Adam. And Adam comes from the word from Adom. Dome is red, and dome is also the earth. So we are a consciousness. We are made conscious and separate by the earth, but our destiny is to be in the earth. Now, this is similar to the Bodhisattva path. The Bodhisattva is the person that chooses to incarnate into this world, Bodhisattvas of the earth, beautiful spirits that have chosen to incarnate in this world in order to raise it and make it a spiritual place. Because prior to that, it was just raw potential without life, right? So in the beginning, there was endless life. I mean, there was endless light. There was no form. We were all just light consciousness, one with the eternal light without division. And we call that Adam. That's the starting point. And that's the fool. The fool who has not yet divided into separate beings. It's merely all consciousness of all beings. This is raw consciousness prior to the fall or prior to the incarnation. The soul of Adam prior to entering this matrix. And so we often use allegories like the Garden of Eden, but the Garden of Eden was probably not in this dimension or in this world. It was a place where we were one with God consciousness. This is Adam prior to the fall, prior to the choice of being incarnated. And he carries a bag of tools that are going to help him survive in the physical world. Some would argue that that's the Torah. It's his ethics. It's also his mission, his dharma, and his karma, not in a negative way, but because he has been sent on a mission to raise this world, Alom Hazeh, this world, Zeh, this, Z-E, you can spell it. It's a Z. Zeh, this world. Olam, world. Olam, world. Zeh. Olam, ha. The is ha. Alom hazeh, this world. Alom haba, the world to come, right? So he is in a spiritual world, and then he comes to this world, Alom hazeh. And when he enters into this physical world, he is divided into two genders. Two genders, the sun and the moon, right? The sun and the moon. Am I backwards? Yes, I am. So we have the physical atom or the masculine energy, which is typified by red. And we can see that he has opened up that pouch and he has begun the work of conjuring and creating heaven on earth, which is the mission of humanity. The yang governs the sun and the yin covers the night. Chachma and Bina in Kabbalah. Chachma and Bina in Kabbalah is wisdom and understanding. It's the hidden mysteries, and that is the feminine. It's the hidden mysteries of night. And you have this nice yang energy of Keter, the crown, right? So they're divided into the day and the night. This is driving me crazy. Can I get this back to I almost want to make it a mirror because I'm used to working with mirroring. Yeah, let's do a mirror. It'll make it easier for me because I'm like, I need a mirror. Okay, this is better for me. Yes. Okay, so yang and yin, or yin and yang, right? You got it? So we've got the night images and we've got the day images. The pomegranate is said to have 613 seeds, and the Torah has 613 laws. And so we can see that Eve, or the yin aspects, she has the tree of life, good and evil, the hidden mysteries. There will be suffering when you enter this world. It doesn't mean that anybody did anything wrong. And so the feminine attributes and the masculine attributes. In everything has a negative aspect. The negative and positive aspects of human beings. That's part of the challenge, because human beings have a good and a bad inclination. And in Hebrew, we call that a Yetzer Hara and a Yetzer Tov. A Yetzer is an inclination, right? Yetzer is an inclination. We have a Yetzer Tov. We have that part of us that understands that we are here to lift the world up and make it a spiritual place better than we found it. This is our mission. Have fun while you're doing it. And then we have a Yetzer Torah. Yetzer Tov, Yetzer Hara. Sorry, I meant to say Yetzer Hara, which is evil, right? Oh, but evil's not real. It's like, you know you shouldn't eat that chocolate bar. You know it's probably not good for you. Wow, that makes me think about the chocolate I've got in the kitchen. Okay, brought some great chocolates from my trips, right? So I've got the Yetzer Hara and I've got the Yetzer Tov, right? So every card has a positive and a negative aspect. People who use their skills or power to manipulate other people would be an inverted magician, right? It's about raw power and what you do with it. You can do good things, heal the world and make the world a better place, or you can manipulate and exploit vulnerable people, right? Manipulate elections with your wealth, right? The more power comes, the more responsibility. Vindictiveness, cruelty, the dark aspects, dark magic, the hidden mysteries, backstabbing, vindictiveness. So those are the negative aspects of those two cards. And then as we go through as these two separate genders fulfilling our mission in life to make the world a better place, which is not to say that women cannot be yang, men cannot be yin. These are just generic ideas. So the yang aspects of the work include the emperor, which is considered more logical. It's the prefrontal cortex. We've talked about the fact that the human brain has 4 aspects, or we're really talking about 4 brains that a human being has, with the most evolved aspect of the human brain being the frontal cortex, or the executive branch. This is the most recent part of the human brain to evolve. It's the ability to stand back and look at things objectively. And this is what we teach in HCRV. We keep our emotions busy, right? We concentrate on the gut. We listen to mantras. We are observing what the gut is observing, and we're observing our reaction to the outside world. I'm highly sensitive, and it can be very defensive. You've all seen it, right? So that can bias me as a reader. So that is why HCRV protects me from my own bias, my own defensiveness, etc. It's getting yourself into a calm place where you can step back from your own emotionalism and try and look at things objectively, so that you're not just reacting based on emotion, but that you're reacting based on looking at things from a 360-degree perspective. The perfect judge, right? Who's able to see things objectively. If you look, he has the blue, the dark blue of the feminine in his right hand. And so he has a balance of the yin and the yang. A lot of people don't notice the blue of the hand. He has a balance of yin and yang, which is necessary to be a good judge. You can see here the Empress, the ability to give birth to creative ideas. You have the right brain and you have the left brain. Not really, but just figuratively. So we think about the left brain, what is it? The right brain. So that the left brain, how's it go? I don't even remember this anymore. I think right brain is creative, right? And left brain is logical. So the left brain. What is Paul Simon used to have a song about it? He said that the left brain of the, they say that the right brain controls the left brain. Oh God, I used to know this. But anyway, the point is that, so the creative, artistic side, say that the right side has to work hard all night. Maybe I think left side, the left side is logical, the right brain is emotional, artistic. So the right brain, artistic, creative, it's associated with giving birth, artistic ideas, letting your energy flow, care of Gaia, connection to the earth. Right is creativity, and left is the academic. So again, we have this split. So everything starts to be divided in this world. It's not this holistic oneness that we see in Adam prior to the fall. Does that make sense? You guys see that? So we enter into a world of divisions, of up and down, and hot and cold, and yin and yang, and creativity versus logic. And I get this a lot with you folks come in for readings, and a lot of you are Empress. You're just these amazing writers and creative types, etc. Now we go to the negative aspects. It's using poor judgment, being unable to look at things objectively. It's the bad judge, right? He's in a position of power and he doesn't know what he's doing. Infertility, destruction of the earth, right? Inability to create. Writer's block, right? Those are the things we think about with those imagery. You guys are doing great. Any questions up to this point? All right, and then we're going to go back here and connect with the Hebrew numbers again. And as we had said, Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Daled, we talk about the importance of understanding that the alphabet is associated with numbers, right? So certain numbers are, Aleph is, we don't have numbers in Hebrew, we have letters, and the letters are associated with certain numbers, right? So we've talked about that. So we'll go ahead and show you that briefly. We'll show you the alphabet. Here's the alphabet for you. We can see here the Aleph, which is associated with the letter 1. So the Alpha and the Omega, right? So that connection to God, which we see with the Alpha and Adam, right? The human masculine, right? And then the feminine or Beit, right? Bina, understanding, also comes with Beit. And we can see two separate Beits here. The one with the dot, which gives you a B sound, and without, which gives you a V sound. Gimel is associated with a pregnant woman. You can see the little pouch here, right? It's supposed to be the baby pouch. So we think of Gimel as the empress. And we think of emperor number 4 as Dalit, which is also associated with Din. And Din in Hebrew is the law. The law. Any questions about that? Any questions? Five is Hay. Hay has a mystical aspect to it. It's interesting. Hay is divided into 2 pieces, and there's quite an interesting bit of mysticism about this idea that it's broken into 2 pieces versus being a whole piece. And the Hierophant has to do with our spirituality and the rules or ethos that we have to maneuver in this world. Let me see if I can get some more imagery for you. I love this class. I could just be here all day talking about this class, because this class is good. All right, here is how to spell Torah in Hebrew. I might as well show you this. This will give you an example of what we're talking about. You can see the breakdown of the word Torah, to bear the light. To bear that light, Tav. We want to bear it. Ta'ora, and then or, right? To bear the light, ta. And then remember, a dot on top of the vav will give you, this is an O sound. Anytime that vav has a dot on it, you'll read it as an O. Isn't that cool? So t, O, and then this is a resh, which gives you the R sound, and there's your hey. Ta, t, O, r. Remember the dot down here is an ah sound. T, O, ra. T, O, ra, ah, ra, ha. Torah. There you go. You just read a Hebrew word, Torah. Tav, vav, resh, hey. Torah. Ta, or. I am attempting to bear the light on a situation. So the purpose of Torah is to bear light, to create light, to look for the light hidden within its pages. Okay, let me say that again. The light of God is hidden within these pages. And so we look to the light, we look to the pages of the Torah, and through the Torah, we find the light of God. Letters and spaces are on a page. God has hidden his light in these words. The light is behind the words. Find the light behind the words. Meditate on these words, and the light is hidden in them. Aleph, ah, ah. You see the dot underneath to give it an ah sound. Ah. The first word, ah. And then here we have a B, because it's a dot inside it will give you a b sound. Ab, ab, ab. And then this dot here is another vowel with an ah sound. Both of these give you an ah sound. Ah, ba, ah, ba, Father. This is one of the names we use when we pray to God. God has many names depending upon what we beseech the divine for. Sometimes we connect with a father. Sometimes we connect with a mother. Sometimes a friend, a lover. Sometimes we get wooed by God. I betroth myself to you, O Lord my God. I betroth myself to you in loving kindness. So sometimes God is romantic. Sometimes God is a stern father, always there, always wanting to help us, right? But the nature of the divine changes based on our spiritual needs. And here we have the Hebrew for Ein Sof. Ein means without. Ein. Now, in this particular case, we see that the Aleph has a Yud next to it, and that's going to give it an A sound. It's going to be like a capital A if you've got that Yud next to it. And then a final nun, you'll see the final nun is that long line, Ein, and then here's a Samic, a Vav giving you an O sound, and then a final Fe, Sof. Ein Sof, which is to be with the light without end. And so our origins prior to the incarnation is that we were one with the endless light. And then from that came divisions as we entered into this matrix in order to fulfill our mission as aliens, basically. We are the aliens, right? Entering into this matrix in order to heal the world. And so we have to have ethics. Hey, it's the maze we go through. Hey, and we have to maintain our ethics. In a negative aspect, it can be dogma, somebody who's just obsessed with the legal, this, that, and the other, and they've missed the forest through the trees. People who obsess about keeping every Shabbat perfectly, lighting candles perfectly, but they miss the whole point of Shabbat, which is to rest and take a day off, right? So that is the fifth. All right, let's take a moment to review the story of the beginning of humans. So Judaism is not what you thought it was. You didn't know this, right? You're thinking, well, this sounds more like what I believe. I've always believed that. Well, that's because the Torah is something that's integral to our humanity. It is not Christianity. It is something very different. Though Christians have been inspired by some Jewish concepts, but they are very different religions. Yes, exactly, Lola Herrera. Very well put. That is exactly how we would look at it. Okay, we're continuing on to the 6th and the 7th. We know that 6 is associated with home and hearth in numerology, right? So the 6th, where did I go? Where did I go? Okay, I can get rid of that one. I got too much stuff open. That's my problem. Okay, there we go. Let's try this again. You guys like learning Hebrew? It's fun, isn't it? Yeah, I think so. It's something that's given me a lot of happiness. Let me see. Am I still with you? Hold on. Yeah. Okay, so good job, you guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We've gotten to the 5th, and then we talked about Vav being the 6th. And 6, it's associated with home and hearth. It's upright. It's got that little area that's marked on the top, which gives you a kind of shelter. Give me shelter. I think of the Vav as giving me shelter. And then you can put the dot on top to give it an O sound. It's a V, but usually it's found when it's found in the middle of a word, it's an O sound. 6 is home and hearth. It's love. When a person's a number 6, they tend to be the salt of the earth. And it's the merging of the yin and the yang. You can see in the imagery that she is looking towards God. And he is looking to her to be close to God. And this is the Jewish concept that women are on a higher spiritual level than men, which men get offended by that. That in Judaism, Women are on a higher level. And this is because they are closer to the creation, because life comes through them. And this is an experience that men simply cannot have. The only way that a man can know what it is to give birth is if he experiences empathy and truly loves his husband, loves his wife, excuse me, or husband if he's in love with a man. But by loving another, he learns empathy. And so he looks to her and he loves her and he sees the light of God through her. She is his muse. She looks up to God and she receives God consciousness. She brings on life. This is why men lay tefillin. Tefillin. Tefillin are a man's walkie-talkie to heaven. So the purpose of tefillin is for a man to attempt to know what it is to experience God consciousness, because he does not have a womb. And so Jewish men will lay tefillin. They will put on these special walkie-talkies to God. Some women will also do it, and those are Rabbeinu Toms. Rabbeinu Toms are the small ones that were developed for women. If a woman feels that she is benefiting, she may do so, but most women don't feel we need it. But you're certainly welcome to lay tefillin if you feel as a woman you want to have that experience. Yes, Jesus wore tefillin if he was a Jew. You don't have to wear them on the Sabbath because the feminine is closer. It's connected to the main artery that goes to the heart. He's trying to connect his heart and his mind to God consciousness. And this is why you'll see it going to the artery, but also to the third eye, as he attempts to replicate the experience of being a woman. And you can imagine the anti-Semitism, the hatred in the West, when people saw that Jewish men were trying to be more connected to their wives, more connected to the female, more connected to God. This was often ridiculed or seen as weak men. Jewish men were seen as weak because of their desire to connect with their wives in this way, with the women in their lives. The negative aspects of lovers can be infidelity, promiscuity, when you want to love, and you don't have boundaries, adultery, cheating. Any questions about that? Mm-hmm. Yes, very true. Concrete. When we think about yang energy, we think about the Zion, right? Because Zion is the Hebrew word also for penis, right? What's the joke about the word Zion? Zion. Some people think it looks like a penis, right? The seventh letter. I got that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. You can see the head of the penis, the Zion. The joke is we got to put the Zion back in Zionism, right? So it does have that aggressive yang energy associated with it. Chariot is movement. It's that push forward, right? The Zion is pushing forward, right? So it has a kind of aggressive aspect. Going nowhere, a crash, are the negative aspects. A mission going nowhere. Sorry about the cough. All right, let's take a moment to take a break and just make sure we're getting to everyone's questions. Any questions so far about the Torah and the Tarot? Anybody want to share their ideas? I'm not taking another Benadryl. I've slept for 2 days because of that Benadryl. Any questions? Nope, we're good. You want me to run for No, they would make me out to be crazy because I am crazy. Okay, so. All right, so the 8th letter is chet, and chet is associated with the word chai, which means life or strength. Okay, so let's look at that again here. We're looking at the strength card, and we're looking at the 8th Hebrew letter, which is the chet. Ch. Can you guys make that sound of the 8th letter with me? Ha, ha, chet, chet. Like you're clearing your throat. Yeah, I know, it's pretty rank, right? Chet. It's your life, right? It's your strength. Inverted, it can be illness, but also strength comes through gentleness, right? It's also the veterinarian's card. Time to let this, I think I have to let the chair go because it's the chair. It's the chair that I'm coughing. It's got all the cat hair in it. I love this chair, but the chair has to go. Okay, so when we think about chai in Hebrew, it means life, right? So let's look at how to spell that. And we see how to spell it is with a chet and a yud, which equals the 18, which is the number of life, strength, or your life. Ch, and then the I sound here. You don't see the vowel here, but there's a vowel here that gives us the I sound. Usually a dot and then a yud together will give you an I or an E sound. So we have chai, life, lachaim, to life, number 18, right? So that's the 8 number and the yud coming together to create chai, life. This one's cute. Here's some coins that say life, chai. I lost my chai. I don't know what happened to my chai. I had a very nice chai and I lost it. Oh, this is cute. This is a gold one. Oh, that's got a little cute diamond there. How nice. This one's cute too. Yeah, instead of wearing a Star of David, I used to just wear a chai. I wore a star too, but yeah, they're cute. You can get some cute ones online. If you're a supporter of life, I support living, right? So that is, inverted. It can be a health challenge. It's when you don't have energy. Yeah. Okay, and then we have Tet, which is the Hermit's card. It's the bucket of knowledge. We remember the Tet because it's the bucket of knowledge that you collect a bucket of knowledge throughout your life. It's kind of an interesting way that the Hebrews saw knowledge as like a bucket. And you can see the Tet is in fact shaped like a bucket. The bucket makes me think of like a washing bucket where part of it was used to, on the side to clean the laundry. These kinds of buckets, and then they would put ridges on the ceramic and rub against the side to clean it, and then let it soak in water. You can see that line. It's almost like a cleaning bucket, but it was, look at the lamp. Others say it's shaped like a lamp of knowledge, but 9 is the number of knowledge and the bucket of knowledge. Wow, isn't that cool as heck? And so when you see that tet, you think about the hermit, which is to seek knowledge. Now, the bad aspects are to be lonely, to be isolated, and to give up on knowledge, right? So I also love the fact that he's in the snow. If you look at the hermit, he's in the snow. And I think there's a lot of reasons why they chose the snow to represent him. Partly because winter was when people went to school, when the crops were fallow. You couldn't grow anything, so instead you studied. And so it's often a time of winter, bearing that light, seeing that tet, carrying that tet, carrying the knowledge. I like both the idea of it as a bucket, and I like the idea of it as as something you carry. The tet being something that you carry. You carry it for your knowledge, right? And we have Yud. We've talked about Yud. We've talked about the fact that the Yud is associated with the number 10. For example, when we had the Chet and the Yud together, we came up with the number 18, which is the number of life. We also have talked about the fact that the Yud is shaped like a teardrop. And so there's an aspect of the Yud which is purifying, but it's also the hard work that comes from seeking knowledge. It's not easy to be a truth seeker, right? A lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And so, it's interesting that the karma is seen as a 10 and the karma is seen as suffering, because a yud is tears, and you do see karma in the yud and in the wheel of fortune. Your tears that you must bear, your fortune that you must bear. But there can also be tears of joy. Karma can become dharma, right? And then your inversion is when something is completed, it's over. Your karma could be completed. I see it as the completion of a cycle. It's not necessarily bad if the karma is completed. Yeah. Kuf has a k sound, kuf, like a K. A kuf sound. It's the 11th card. It is associated with the justice card. Justice has both a positive and aspect. We seek justice in our lives. We seek balance in our lives. Inversion can be an injustice that's befallen you. We can see again the red, the yang energy, but we also see the nice balance of the green and the purple, which are the more yin. Again, this is a beautifully balanced number. It's 11. And it's associated with a justice, and justice denied the cuff. One of my professors was telling me that the professor with the professor's hat was how they thought about the cuff, that big hat on top of a person. And it was like the wise justice. And that was kind of how I remembered the cuff. This is the final cuff, and this is the regular cuff. Final and the regular cuff. You can see the final cuff will have that long line at the end showing that the word, it's the closing of the word, the cuff. The Lamed is the number 12, and you can see that the hangman is shaped like the Lamed. He is shaped like the Lamed. You can see his leg crossing so that he can give you that nice shape of that Lamed. Look at the crossing leg here. You guys are blown away. You're like, oh, it is the Torah. How come the rabbis told? Well, the rabbis don't know the history, right? Well, actually, most rabbis do know the history, but yeah, it's just about education. It's about that this is really just a picture book of the Torah. That's all it is. It's just the Torah in pictures. And you can see here the hanged man. He has the light on the bottom, the light of awareness. Once you know how to do something, the lesson, the suffering, right, the yud, the suffering, he has now a light bulb moment. Once you have the knowledge, you can let things go. And that is the number 12. Also 12 tribes. There are 12 tribes in Judaism. Those 12 tribes became 13 when Joseph, his tribe is divided into Ephraim and Manasseh. So Joseph became Ephraim and Manasseh, so the 12 tribes became 13, which brings us to Mem. We can see here the final Mem that I was telling you about at the end is this square, and in the beginning of a word, or in the middle of a word, we have this Mem. So we have both the regular Mem, and then we have the final Mem. Death. Death and transformation is associated with the number 13. It's not a bad number. 13 is considered a lucky number because the 12 tribes become 13, which was auspicious. It's anytime you have a major transformation in your life. The other thing I would say is that you have young people being born and old people dying as part of the natural cycle of life. Mm-hmm. There's a couple of other Jewish symbols she uses as well, like grain, and there's some harvest imagery here as well, reaping and sowing. Mm-hmm. None is an interesting one, the 15 temperance, for a lot of reasons. It has to do with balancing yourself. The other thing about the nun is that you have both a roof, but you also have a floor. This is another way of thinking of nun. This is the regular nun, which gives you the N sound, nu, and this is a final N at the end of a word, nu. And just think of it as having a roof and a floor. It gives you that temperance, that balance. You can see here, there's a top and a bottom, the flow. And the nun also has a top and a bottom. And he flows top to a bottom, seeking balance. So from nun, the 15th letter, we've always taken it as balance or temperance. In inversion, it can be someone that's having a problem with sobriety. Yeah. Anything else I can say about the card? Yeah, the crown of knowledge, which is part of sobriety. The opening up of the flowers, the awakening, which have a kind of a sun aspect. The balance or the flow of the water. The protective wings of God protecting you in your sobriety is things I think about. Having one foot in the water and one on land. Again, it's this idea, the juxtaposition of the nun, heaven and earth. You have part of the nun touching the earth and part of the nun is touching the heaven. Is there anything else I can say? That's 14. It's the number 14. It's bad luck. The number 14 is bad luck in Judaism. And it's also associated with having trouble with temptation, having trouble with being seduced, temper, what Catholics call the 7 deadly sins, being able to say no. All of that is associated with a number 14. All right, and then the last one we're going to do is the samic, which is the s sound. I love it. It's a nice, round, little, cute. And then we have, unfortunately, number 15, samic, which is the devil or the Satan. What I would say to you is that the Satan is not necessarily bad in the Jewish tradition. It simply means adversary, Satan or adversary. Sometimes your adversary is the person that's making you the best that you can be. The best that you can be. So samic, oh, this is too, can you guys see the samic? Can you see it over here? I don't think you guys can see it, can you? Let me see if I can make this smaller so you can see. Huh, it's not going. I wonder why it's not doing that. Guess it can't go any smaller. Oh, wow, that's okay. Maybe I have to, let's see. Let me try this. I want you to be able to see the samic. Okay, now you can see the samic here. That's the number 15. It's very closed. You know, it's closed and contained. What I would say about samic, which is also the Satan, right? Satan, samic, the 15, is that it's anybody that tries to stop you from doing what you were put on this earth to do. That's the Satan. And, you know, you think about how hard a professional athlete has to work to win the gold. Their coach is the Satan, right? They have to fight so hard because they've got this adversary. Do it again. Or a great pianist. That's not good enough. You got to do it again. Try again. Try again. Try again. Right. So the adversary, the Satan is the adversary. That's true. But it's also true that without an adversary, we would not do great things with our life. We have to have some adversity in our life in order to propel us towards the good. Mm-hmm. All right, I think we're going to stop there. You guys did really, really good today. We are almost done. Next week, we will finish the Hebrew, and then we will start reading some basic Hebrew words in the Torah. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Let me just check and make sure you guys are okay. How do you like learning this? Does this feel familiar to you? Is this like, oh, I've done this before in many lifetimes? I do love this chair. You know, I sprayed the whole thing down with cat neutralizing spray, cat hair neutralizing spray, and then I washed it. And I'm still reacting. But what I think I'm going to do is I think that I can actually take part of it out. I'm going to get that foaming stuff. You can't find the hangman card? That's your Lamed. Yeah. Isn't it cool that the hangman looks like a Lamed? I think that's so cool that she made it look like a Lamed. Well, if you had fun today and you'd like to join us in the future, this class was an audit of learning Hebrew and Jewish mysticism in the Torah. This is the Jewish origins of the Torah, Ata, or to bear the light. This is the oldest understanding that I know of the Torah, though there is some more ancient Yoruba tradition we can also take a look at out of Nigeria, and understand that these picture books were originally created not to do something evil, but in order to communicate these spiritual concepts to people who maybe couldn't read or write, or maybe couldn't all speak the same language. As we traveled that great Fertile Crescent and all those trade routes, communicating and sharing our stories, people used pictures. They used picture books. And that is probably the oldest versions of the tarot that we have. Yeah. Did you enjoy it, Anthony? I hope so. Yeah. All right. If you're trying to reach me as a doctor, she just jumped all the way onto the bed. That was cool. It's her dinner time, and I did not feed her, so that's what that was. I will come feed you, yes. Yeah, if you're trying to get in for a reading with me, you can find the information below. If you need counseling as a physician, any of that information, find it below. Thank you, everybody. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. Isn't it great that it's all in the pictures? It's just awesome. Yeah. All right. See you guys next time. Be well. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night. And join the class at the Elders and Empaths level, because we'll be closed next week. So if you want to join, you